Hi, my name is Robin Stearn. I'm an occupational therapist, and I'm very fortunate to be able to be an assessor for the Stop Falls program here in Napa County. It's a wonderful program I'm so thrilled to be a part of because we provide a service that, to my knowledge, has never been done before, but it's now being done in this county and other counties. We will help you reduce your fall risk. And as we know, along with aging, comes with fall risk. So I'll tell you some information about falls. About 1 in 4 people every year fall in the United States. And if you think about 1 in 4, it's skewed to the age range of older people. 1 in 5 falls causes serious injuries. 3 million people end up in the emergency room each year as a result of falling. 800,000 people are hospitalized as a result of falls. That's more than COVID killed in the past year. Falls cause many terrible things. Falls cause broken bones. And what happens when you fall and a bone breaks, you land on something. You put your hands out to protect yourself. So that's what takes the force of the fall. That force goes right up your arm. And wherever the force lands, you're going to break that bone. If your bones don't have good density, if you hit it hard enough, if you're so lucky to have landed in such a way that your wrist, your arm, the long bones, you might mess up a knee. I just had someone that did that. Another issue about falls that is debilitating is the fear of falling. Once a person falls, they become so frightened that they're going to fall again. That can be debilitating. They go to the couch. They're afraid to take walks and to do those weight-bearing exercises we all need to maintain our bones and muscles. Falls also cause head injuries, and that can be devastating, whether it's a closed head injury where the skull doesn't get broken and you don't have terrible bleeding, but you may have the brain bounce against the skull. The brain's about the consistency of Jell-O. So if you fall hard, just like our football players who have head injuries, it's because the brain bounces against the skull. And that causes something called traumatic brain injury, traumatic. And there are lots of traumatic effects from traumatic brain injury. What conditions cause falls? Well, conditions within yourself can cause falls. One being weakness, particularly of your lower body and your middle body, your core, your trunk. You have to have strong muscles to change directions, to move forward, to move backward, just to get up from a chair. Lots of people fall just getting up from a chair because their muscles didn't do the job of lifting. Vitamin D deficiency is another cause or contributant to thinning of bones and thus falls that result in fractures. We used to all sit out in the sun and get lots of vitamin D. Now that we found out that we got melanomas and skin cancers from sitting out in the sun, that's no longer so in vogue. Another issue that causes falls is medications. Western medicine is about polypharmacy. You go, and I don't mean to rag on pharmacy, but you go to the doctor and the doctor has only a certain amount of time. It's not like they came into your house in the good old days and made a house call. So you end up with a new medication for this symptom. I have diarrhea. I'm having headaches. I'm finding this and that. And you keep getting more medications added on. Well, you need to be in good communication with your doctor because as you add on a new medication, it may interact with another medication you're taking. You may no longer need it. It might be that you're taking it the wrong time of day. You should be taking it at night or morning or with meals. So use of medications is a big contributor to fall risk. Vision, that's another issue. Now, as an occupational therapist, I also work with home health patients. And one of the things I do as part of my evaluation is a quick and dirty vision assessment. I'm going to ask them, have you been to your eye doctor in the past year? You should have your eyes checked regularly because the eye changes shape and our vision changes. And you might notice now your glasses aren't working as well as they used to. In fact, try reading the newspaper or small print if you're having more difficulty. Time to go get your eyes checked. And another issue about vision is your peripheral vision. It may be that something's happened along the way, you had a little mini stroke, and you've lost some of that side vision. So that's another thing I do when I assess people, is check their visual fields. If you don't see anymore what's over here or what's over here or what's on the ground, you're going to trip on it possibly, and that's another fall risk. Foot pain and improper footwear, that's another issue that relates to fall risk. I like a shoe personally that flexes when you walk, because if you try walking barefoot, you'll notice you strike your heel on the ground and then you cross over your arch and you push off with your toe. Well, if you're wearing a shoe that is rigid, that doesn't allow the normal thing to happen. So it's important that you have good fitting shoes and that your shoes fit the situation. Are you running in your slippers? That's not such a great idea. Things about your home. Now, this is where I come in. I come to your home and I put on my OT. I'm using these glasses a lot today. I put on my OT eyes and I walk up to your front door as I come to your home. And I'm noticing from my experience with many people that have fallen, what are the things that could cause somebody to fall? And those are the things we're going to assess, and we're going to make recommendations of those things we can either modify or fix or eliminate. I can't make you do anything, I just recommend. I always tell people, you're the boss, it's your home. Is this cute little kitty rug in front of your sink worth you falling and breaking a bone? Put it on the wall and do the safer thing. Because later, when you fall on that kitty rug, you're going to think back, oh my gosh, I didn't have to fall if I would have only A, B, and C. Listen to Robin. Okay, so throw rugs. You all know, as soon as the therapist walks in your house, the throw rugs are going to be toast. I step on the rug. If it moves, then it's not safe, because you can step on the rug and it'll slide and you throw you off balance and you can fall. If the rug is secured, it might be okay, depending on if you're using a walker that's going to mess up with it. So throw rugs can be eliminated or moved to another place where they're not such a hazard. Broken or uneven steps. Okay, so here I come to your house. I get out of my car and I walk up your steps, and I notice that your front walk, I just had someone the other day that has this. They had very pretty architecturally square steps with pebble spaces in between the steps. Well, you can trip very easily on those pebbles. So we came up with the idea that we're going to place wooden slats in the steps so that we create an even walkway, and we'll remove those pebbles. It should still look good. I mean, you're going to want something that works aesthetically as well as safety-wise. But boy, you don't want to fall because we left those pebbles in place. Clutter. Many people, I won't call you a hoarder, but like to keep their stuff. And we go through half our lives collecting things, maybe even more. We collect stuff, and we somehow don't take the time to think through, well, I'm living in a space that's 1,300 square feet, and I've got 2,000 square feet worth of stuff from my last house. But you weren't able to let anything go, so you kept it all. Now I walk into the house, and believe me, I walked into some houses where I walked into one house where when I went to open the door, the patient got stuck against the door in her wheelchair. We had to push her forward to get the door open. Well, immediately I could see why she fell. She had so much stuff in her house that you couldn't walk through the spaces, and she in a wheelchair couldn't get through the spaces safely without falling or bumping into something. And it's interesting because people will say to me all the time, oh, but I've always done it like this. I know that this is here. I'm used to this. Okay, but yesterday I saw somebody who fell because they tripped over something that was on the floor that could have been just moved over a few inches or taken away. So it's time to, after you collect all this stuff, you reach a point where your safety becomes more important than owning all this stuff. And then it's time to think through, well, what do I really need now? And what don't I need? What can I donate? What will somebody else enjoy? You can donate, you can give away, you can throw away. But it's important that you can get through your space safely. Okay, pets are another potential fall risk. I'm not saying anybody should give up their pets, but I do have one friend who recently was walking her beautiful dog when the dog went after another dog, yanked the leash, and she fell face first on the ground. Nobody expected that, but that's what happened. She wasn't able to regain her balance when her beautiful dog pulled her off center, and she fell, and it was a really bad fall. So you just need to be aware of what's going on with your pets, and that's probably a whole other chapter, but that's a fall risk too, pets. Physical things you can so easily do something about are dehydration. Now I know everybody tells you, drink more water. Drink 8 glasses of water a day, and you go, oh my God, I cannot do that. But when people go to the ER, one of the first things they're going to check is how well hydrated you are. And very often, one of the first things that happens if you go to the ER after a fall is you get a line of fluid placed in your arm to combat the fact that you're dehydrated. Now, what can we do about it? That's where we come in and other people on your healthcare team come in. Your doctor is the captain of your healthcare ship. And you, even though we have COVID days these days, you can be calling your doctor, you can be emailing your doctor, and you can have a Zoom appointment with your doctor. Your doctor needs to know what is going on with you. If you fall, and I've seen many people who don't want to tell anybody that they fell, they're embarrassed, they don't want their kids to know because they're going to put them in a nursing home. But call your doctor. Your doctor will listen when you say you fell. And your doctor will question you to clarity, what was going on? Did you just get up? Are you on too much blood pressure medication so that your blood pressure is too low? There are many physical things that your doctor can address that will help you understand why you fell and correct the problem. Pain is another issue that affects fall risk. You can picture, and lots of people at a later stage of their life live with pain. Back pain, leg pain, knee pain. You get up from a sitting position and that pain gets you, and it throws you off. You react to that pain. So pain can be a source of fall risk because you're reacting to that pain. Another way pain affects fall risk is you're taking some medication to take care of the pain, but it clouds your ability to function. It changes your cognition. Now, our group, Stop Falls, will do a fall assessment. All you have to do is call us. And we'll send out, I or another therapist. You'll be in contact with our program director, Karen Morrissey. And we will first do an intake to find out who you are, your phone number, your vitals, your address. What was the problem, if you want to tell us about it? We have lots of sources of funding in this marvelous grant. So if you qualify, we can access funding that will pay for, I'll come out and say, take away your throw rug, put a grab bar here. You might want a ramp here. We should fix these steps. And then the grant may be able to provide funding to pay for those things to be done. We'll send out a person to make the changes, put up the ramp, put up the grab bar, and we'll bring the equipment too. It won't cost you anything. It's a wonderful service that this grant offers. Now today, we're going to particularly talk about mobility devices. And I brought a few from Piners. The Piners is helping us sponsor this presentation. And so I want to show you some things about mobility devices and how you use them and why you use them. So I'm going to demonstrate today mobility devices. This is a single point cane. You've all seen them. This is a very cool one I just learned about because it has a handle that really fits your hand very well. But this is a left-handed one. You can't use it in the right hand. You use a cane when you just need a little support for one side of your body. So for example, I just hurt my knee. I have a torn meniscus. You use the cane on the other side of your body, and here's how you adjust it to your height. There's a little screw here, and there's a button. You push in the button, twist it a little bit so you can move it, and go up or down depending on your height. You want about a 25-degree angle in your elbow so that you can rely on the cane but not have a straight elbow. The cane usually goes, but you'll work with a therapist now on how to use your cane. It goes on the opposite side of the injury. So my right leg is injured, I'm going to use the cane to support me while I'm on the right leg, and then walk through. That's one type of cane, single point cane. Here's another handle on a single point cane. Same adjustment. This can be used right or left, and it's also a very comfortable and secure and soft handle. So if you have painful hand, arthritis, this is a good one because you can hold on and put pressure and not hurt your hand. And this one's called a hurricane. This is one that's as seen on TV. Look at the base. The base is big and broad, and it stands up on its own when you let go. Boy, that's a handy feature. Because you go to the restaurant, what do you do with your cane? Here it is, you can just leave it next to you. And here's the adjustment on this one, it's higher up. But it's same thing. Also, you'll see in our slide, there's a quad cane. And that has 4 feet, quad. That's usually used for someone who's had a stroke and needs a lot of support on the stroke side. I don't have one to demonstrate, but you can see what they look like. After canes, the next most stable thing is a walker. And there are a variety of types of walkers, and we have many here to demonstrate for you. How do you know when you need to use a walker versus a cane? Well, there's several ways you can know. The therapists know you need something when we walk in your house and you go from the table to your dresser to the countertop. We call you furniture walkers. And you know you need something when you're holding on to furniture or your loved one in order not to fall. You need either a cane or you might need a walker. That's the next and more stable item. Types of walkers. Okay, this type of walker is a front-wheeled walker. And we put on it a walker tray so you can see how convenient that is. The front-wheeled walker, as you can see, has the wheels on the front, no wheels on the back. Instead, they have a stopper. This is a very stable type of walker. People who are in rehab, this is the kind they're going to start with and progress if they are able. You adjust the wheels, same way I showed you to adjust the cane wheel. Push in the little tab, turn it a bit, and move it up and down for your height. You adjust the height once again so that you have about a 25-degree angle in your elbow. Here is the heavy duty for a heavy person called bariatric front-wheeled walker. Now check out the legs on this. That has 4 wheels, so it's most stable. This thing weighs quite a bit more than that lightweight aluminum walker. It's wider, so a person who's wide themselves and doesn't fit in the standard front-wheeled walker might need this. This is also a front-wheeled walker, but it has a seat. The seat drops down. Look how cool that is. The walker folds like that. This is very stable, and you've got a seat. When you want to sit, here's a tip I do with all types of walkers. Push it against the wall before you sit down if you are able, or a cupboard. Because when you sit down plop, the walker could move, and that could cause a fall. I have 2 versions of a 4-wheeled walker, also known as a rollator. All 4 wheels. You see lots of versions of this people out in the street because there is a seat. So you can, if you're just getting back up in shape, getting back on exercising and walking, and you can't walk very far, the seat comes in awfully handy. You can walk outside just like you love, not with your dog, and then you can sit down and take a rest. This is a really cool new type of front-wheeled walker. It has here a pouch so you can keep your gear, your phone. And when you sit down, always lock the brakes. Boom. If you can, put it up against something. Hold on to it. As you sit, you sit. See, it's got a little back here. So that's very comfortable when you're taking a little rest on your walk. Okay, that's one type of front-wheeled walker. And look how easily this one folds. Is that cool? You just put it in the back of your car or your trunk. There you go. Here's the Cadillac version of a rollator, 4-wheeled walker. Also folds so easily, look at this. Has a storage basket, you could put your Yorkie in there. These handles adjust up and down easily. Here's the brakes. Big tip, which I think I might have already said, never get up and down or down before you lock your brakes. So before you sit down, lock your brakes. Before you stand up, lock your brakes. Because otherwise the walker is going to move and that could create a fall. Okay, that is walkers. Okay, next up, wheelchairs. Wheelchairs, nobody wants ever to be in a wheelchair, but sometimes it's a necessity. If you can't stand and walk, then a wheelchair gets you from place to place. And you're going to want a wheelchair to get from place to place. So I have 3 different types of wheelchairs to talk to you about. This is a commonly mistaken wheelchair. Loved ones, family members think their mother needs a wheelchair or their father or themselves. And this looks so small and minimalist. This is the one they get. This is called a companion wheelchair for a very good reason. You can't push yourself anywhere in it. There are no wheels. The wheels are on the bottom. The brakes are at the back. You can't even lock your brakes and stand up. Your companion has to do that. So this is a great chair to keep in your trunk when you're going to a doctor's appointment. But as far as using it for mobility, you are totally dependent on your loved one or your caregiver who you're paying or somebody else, your nurse, to push you. You're not getting exercise. Look at the way that this chair is constructed. It has a very straight back and a very straight bottom. It's not all that comfortable either because of those 2 features. So I never recommend a companion wheelchair unless it's for the purpose of taking your mother to the doctor and you want an extra wheelchair to keep in your car so that you don't have to put the other wheelchair in your car. That's the real purpose of this type of wheelchair. Now here is your standard, ugly, but functional wheelchair. This is pretty heavy. They come lightweight. That's a newer version that's really high-tech and looks great. We'll see that in a minute. But this wheelchair has the brakes in front. Before you ever sit down, lock your brakes. Because if you don't lock your brakes and you go to sit down, imagine what's going to happen. Okay, so now I'm ready to sit down. I teach people to step back until you feel it, reach back until you touch it, and lower yourself. Part of the teaching I do with people, let's say you've just had a spinal surgery or fractures of your spine, if you plop, what are you doing to the healing fibers or the injured tissues of your back? You're re-injuring them if you plop. So it's very important that you push up and lower yourself like a butterfly, I tell people. Just lower yourself with using your arm strength. Okay, this chair has a feature called a desk arm. See how it's cut down here? So I can pull up to the desk and work. But another feature about this type of wheelchair are the leg rests. Here's the secret of life of leg rests. They clip into lock and you lift them off. Notice pegs and holes. Pegs, holes. The secret of life of putting back your leg rests. Put the holes on the pegs. There you go. And when you hear it click, it locked. You can also not have to take them off by just flipping up these foot plates. Now for the Cadillac of wheelchairs. This is a brand new type of wheelchair. First of all, it looks very cool. It looks very high-tech. Look at how curvy and, I mean, I'm sure people, as a therapist, this to me looks cool. As a user, you probably think, oh my God, I have to be in a wheelchair. But it's very lightweight. This thing is really easy to put in and out of a car. It does not have the removable armrest. Now that's a downside because you have to stand up and sit down. You can't remove the armrest and scoot over. This leg rest can be in or out. Look at that. You just lift it up and scoot it over. Never sit down without locking the brakes or having whoever's helping you. That's a nice tight brake. Lock the brakes. Padded seat, padded back. Back is a little bit forgiving and folds. So there's all kinds of wheelchairs. One of the things I do as a therapist is spec out what type of wheelchair the person needs. I measure them. This is, I would guarantee you, an 18-inch wide wheelchair. Wheelchairs come 19, 20, 22, 24, depending on how wide you are. You want a little space between you and the wheelchair so you don't injure your skin getting in and out. And I would measure how high from the floor you need it, how tall the back needs to be, do we want a cushion for pressure relief, et cetera, et cetera. There's all kinds of specifications of what type of wheelchair to get. So just to summarize today's presentation, and we'll be doing future presentations, I'm with Share the Care, and it's a special program through Napa County, Stop Falls. We offer a free assessment by me. I'll come to your house, or another therapist may come to your house and do an assessment and tell you what things you might want to consider changing, modifying, adding, subtracting to make your home more fall-proof. Then we will send out a licensed contractor who will bring the materials that they need and add those things that are recommended. We put them in order of priority, so we have a certain amount of money we can spend, and you can always have the contractor do other things beyond the high priorities or within the budget. They'll offer that. They'll give you that information. We thank you very much for being with us today and helping us on our mission, which is to keep people from falling. Thank you.